I'm Jason Klom, and this is Comedy on Vinyl. The year is 1961, the album, The Bickersons, the artists Don Amici and Frances Langford, and my guest this week is Joy Grdnic. You know, I think I ran across a Stevens and Grdnic album a while ago and then realized, oh, you know what, let me see if I can hunt down the folks involved in it. And so, you know, obviously you've listened to a bunch of comedy, having done a lot yourself. I want to know when you first heard the Bickersons, if it was the record.
Yeah, I actually, I did, you know, I'm old, so when I was watching TV, I was influenced back by the vaudeville comics that were on Jack Parr, you know, in the black and white.
Yeah.
So I grew up liking all the Jackies, like Jackie Vernon and Jackie Mason and of course Jack Benny.
Sure.
I always loved Jack Benny and Jackie Gleason. I don't know. I guess I should have had the name Jack. It probably would have been better, but it wasn't until Ron and I got together and we started doing comedy as a team that I started looking into comedy teams, husband and wife teams, even though we never really did husband-wife comedy, which was, I think, a big mistake because that's what everybody expected when you got up on stage. And they were like, well, where's the husband-wife jokes? But instead we were doing comedy parodies and radio comedy. And that was what led me to listen to and find the Bickersons. And, of course, all of those teams, Burns and Allen, which of course everybody knew, Stiller and Mira, Fibber McGee and Molly. I never heard of them, but they're so old that it's not even funny. You know, I mean, it's not even funny. Like they're literally not funny. But Burns and Allen, of course, you know, when you think about something that you thought was really funny back then, and then you go back, it's the same way with songs or funny movies, like. Your memory of it is so wonderful and so strong and so outstanding. And then it's always weak and slow when you try to visit something from that you thought was so great.
Sure.
But the Bickersons, I guess I liked them because they were so typical of a married couple that wasn't enamored with each other. You know, they were just literally bickering all the time. They weren't really a team. They were two actors. So they had a comedy writer. It was basically like a sitcom. And it had flaws, like the characters weren't really developed properly, where Frances Langford would be a bad cook and is smart, and like she would play the role of the scoldy wife so that she was smart and knew things. But then she would be stupid, so stupid that she would make, you know, terrible, stupid food that was inedible, that I guess they were just going for a joke and they hadn't really fleshed out the characters properly.
Right.
But if you listen to them, you will, like, there's an episode of where John is snoring. Well, he's snoring through a lot of stuff, but there's one big long where he's in bed snoring and she's upset and she's, you know, trying to get him to stop snoring, and the whole building is rapping on the door because he's making so much noise, and that is like a sitcom where it's joke, like, you know, just one-liners.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get into I guess I was looking at this kind of comedy, thinking, oh, you know, well, we're going to be the next Cheech and Chong. But then I found out there was a Cheech and Chong. But going back to the, like, Stiller and Mira and I can't think of their name right now. Mike Nichols and Elaine May.
Uh-huh.
Those two were very similar, and that was really a little bit before our time.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing sketch comedy, and then I thought, well, anything's game. You could get gosh, I can't think of their name either. It must be. Did I tell you I have a bad memory? And it's run in my family, and. Ever since I was a kid, my dad's side of the family, we're missing some chemical in our brain. But anyway, did I tell you I have a bad memory? So I guess Jack Benny was one of my favorites because he would be so self-effacing and so vain, and I always appreciated that. But that was also one of the. They used to have the guys be that in the teams. The women, they didn't. I guess, well, I take that back because in some cases they had like Lucy and Desi, who weren't really a comedy team. They weren't really stand-up. They were a sitcom actor and actress, but that would bleed into that. I forgot the question.
The question was long enough ago that it no longer matters. But you absolutely answered it. I mean, I asked you when you first heard them, and I love that you first heard them because of research, though. Most of the time, it's a record that somebody grew up with in their house. But for you, it seems like you're just mostly aware of them, but you actually actively had to seek them out.
Yes, that is true.
That's so great.
We did radio comedy, and we did audio comedy, which was always the thing. So when we first started, we would listen to Credibility Cap and National Lampoon at the time, and anything that was on Firesign Theater, of course. And then we went to Los Angeles because we were in St. Louis, and we put together a comedy album because we came from radio. And the comedy, the people at the time in the album industry, the record industry, they didn't take us seriously. They thought that we, if we were going to get in this business, they were going to invest in us, that we had to live in Los Angeles. Yeah. So we moved to Los Angeles. Wow. And then we put out our second comedy album. Our first album was nominated for a Grammy. It was Somewhere Over the Radio. And the second one, Retail Comedy at Wholesale Prices, Factory Direct to You, No Middleman, were on two different labels. And then we did a video right when video first came out.
How to Party?
We did How to Party. Oh my God, you know this, yes. This was a funny thing, that How to Party, just recently we were going to get this and try to make it into something that you could watch today, like a DVD.
Yeah.
And it's so grainy, but it's funny, but it's really out there. It's all over the place. It's like what were we doing, drugs or something? You can follow the storyline, but just the fact that we got that together right at a time when nobody knew what video was going to do.
Yeah.
It was. And we had a deal with, oh gosh, I can't remember the name of the company, but they gave us like $40,000. That's
wow. Okay.
Yeah, right. Today, could you get that even?
No.
Because nobody knew what it was, and they thought, there is the possibility of it being a great thing. Well, unfortunately, it went to all of the video stores at the time, and they put it. Nobody has a sense of humor. They put it in the how-to category, like how to fly fishing, like how to bake angel cake, so it's like so and we had that same problem with a book that we wrote in Los Angeles called How to Make Love to Yourself. It was on the heels of the two big bestsellers, How to Make Love to a Man and How to Make Love to a Woman. So we did How to Make Love to Yourself.
So good.
And the company that put it out took out a full-page ad in the Los Angeles Times, and it died because people took it seriously, and they were offended. They thought that it was about masturbating, and it was it was ridiculous, because unless you tell people this is funny or this is comedy or they've already heard this, everything is taken on the surface seriously.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. That is holy. This is the challenge that, I mean, I can say fully that I have never experienced, any kind of popularity to have anybody release my own stuff. But it is always the fear that the reason no one's paying attention is because it comes across as too straight. And they just don't dig deep enough below the surface. All you have to do is scratch the surface and you're like, oh, this is a joke. But holy crap, just nobody paying attention. That's wow. That is okay. So if I may confess a little something that I didn't realize until today. So in digging further into the back catalog, what was the first thing I found this morning when I was digging again? Oh, so I found a sketch called Fast Food, which very well-known sketch. But as I'm listening to it, I'm like, what is this doing to my brain? This is hitting my brain in a special way. And I looked it up. I'm like, was this on a Dr. Demento compilation? Yes, it was.
Yes.
That's not where I heard it, though. What I realized was, and right now I am rendering a video that is all about the early comedy albums I ever heard. Well, I didn't realize until this morning after I recorded it that it was on a compilation from WMMR that that I heard maybe when I was 7 or 8. So this is probably one of the earliest sketches I ever heard was fast food. And so now I'm realizing, oh crap, I'm about to speak with somebody who influenced me and I didn't even realize it. Like it's and it's, by the way, not even credited anywhere as being your sketch. It's just on that compilation, which is weird.
Well, you know what's funny about that? That was out during the time of putting on the hits. It was a lip sync show that Dick Clark Productions did.
Yeah.
And we didn't know it, but there was some guy who took our bit, fast food, and it went all the way to the finals.
Oh my God.
He was just like lip syncing it on the show.
Yeah.
And they came to us. I forget, we were actually working for Dick Clark Productions in some capacity at the time. And somebody passed us in the hall and said something like, oh, hey, congratulations on your bit making it to the grand finals. And we were like, what? We didn't know anything about it. We didn't even know that it was on the show.
Wow.
And they said, yeah, blah, blah, blah. So we go check it out. And sure enough, the Sam Fox agency, that was the company that pays for playing, royalties and things, they had been paying some guy who had a song called Fast Food all our royalties all this time.
Oh my God.
Yes. And then it was like, I sound like some kind of, here I am talking about money, about $40,000 we got for this. And then for that, this is the only 2 things we ever got money for. But it was like, we had them, I guess, in a position where they had to, tell us something. They owed us back money. Well, what do you want? And they couldn't pull it off the show. It was in the grand finals.
Yeah.
So we just said some number, and they were like, sure, and it was fine. And then we were like, maybe we should have said more. But
yeah, right.
Anyway, yeah, that always happens. But Rosie O'Donnell also made her career on that bit. She did that bit as her own, in Stairway to, what was it? That Stairway to Stardom show. That wasn't the name of it. It was.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. That's how she became a star. Yeah.
Because she's also told the story of how she won a stand-up competition by stealing Jerry Seinfeld's stand-up. So she was not exaggerating. She had a history of this as a young woman. Holy cow!
There you go. I guess just fake it till you make it. I guess.
Wow.
Yeah. How about that? Well, it's not as bad as Robin Williams, who would go out right up after somebody that was on and do their very right after them. He was like a sponge. He would just, that was funny, and then get up and do it himself.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Did you ever run into a Robin Williams in clubs?
Well, Robin Williams, yeah. I mean, we used to perform in that same circuit at that same time. I guess the time we would come, we never really met him or hung around with him, but we were on the fringes of where he was at the same time. In that era. Our era was more Baby Man. Do you remember?
Wow, I do not.
Bruce Valanche. He was in there too. We were kind of in between. We wrote for television, for variety television, for Fallows, Bleeps and Blunders, Bloopers and Practical Jokes, Anything for Money, all those shows.
Oh my God, love it.
We started by doing sitcoms. WKRP in Cincinnati was like the first thing that we wrote for, because we came out of radio, and that was a radio show.
Yeah.
And yet the people doing the show had never really come from radio, so they were always insecure about whether they were doing radio right.
Yeah.
So their manager, Bernie Brillstein, had met us, and we were just doing radio comedy. We still do radio comedy, even though we tried to stop doing radio comedy. We're still doing it today. We sold the company where we had been doing it with Media America in New York about, I'm going to say 6 years ago now. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to think of the guy. They assembled a group of comedians in New York to take it over, and Jimmy Fallon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he is doing the series now, but he always has to come to, I just did a voice right before I called you. We do, punch it up or help it out or, record on our end or something. Just, and with the radio comedy series. It's still being played on radio and offered to radio stations. So, in other words, people say, "What do you do?" And you say you do radio comedy, and they still don't know what you mean. And when you listen to the radio, usually in the morning on morning shows, and you hear a funny song or a song parody or a commercial parody or a character drop in or just a funny just sound effects and things like that, everybody assumes that the DJ did that himself, and almost always it's a comedy service such as ourselves, or American Comedy Network or some other. There was like maybe a handful of them over the years that have been doing radio comedy. Now, when we started, we went to Los Angeles with our comedy album, and some people said, "Hey, you should meet this team." It was from Studio B with Pat McCormick and Alan Barsman. Well, Pat McCormick, big guy, big old guy, yeah, a large man. In fact, one time he was doing a comedy pilot, and he had me on because I was so small and he was so big, and he just thought that was hilarious. So they listened. They had from Studio B, which was an interview show on the radio. At the same time, there were other radio comedy series like Chicken Man and the Story Lady. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. They had I guess that was, I was still in grade school when that was going on. So that was like the 60s, I guess. Mm-hmm. And then they kind of ran out of speed, and radio changed, and it went to more progressive rock radio where you didn't have all that personality anymore and all of that canned stuff. But that stuff, it was so funny. And that's where when we first went to Los Angeles, we met from Studio B people, and they were like, "This is really good." Well, they didn't laugh. They just pointed at the funny parts. They would not laugh. They just point. So they point through listening to our stuff. And then they'd say, can you do 130 of these? Meaning short comedy bits. Mm-hmm. Well, I said yes. And Ron was like kicking me under the table because, we only had 10 bits. And so then we had to go home and write 120 more. And it was tough. In the beginning, it was tough. When you write comedy, it makes you sleepy. Because it taxes a person, a certain part of your brain, and it makes you want to just fall asleep. So it's you'd spend all day trying to write one bit because you'd fall asleep. those were horrible, terrible times. But actually, you get good at it after a while. It's like anything, if you do it a whole bunch, you get good at it. So now we've done, I don't know, maybe about, I guess, over 5,000, close to 6,000 comedy bits, radio comedy bits. Wow. And Ron's starting to put some of them on YouTube, but he's not getting very far because we're busy. And it just says Stevens and Grdnic. So, and then you have to put something visual to it. So, you look at these old things on YouTube, and it's like they show the cover of the album. There's like nothing to show. And it's kind of, and it was black and white, and they kind of colored it. So it's no, it doesn't really grab you. Just like all that stuff. I watched Airplane. I thought Airplane, the movie, was so funny when it came out. I thought, oh my God, it's a laugh a second. And it was so outrageous and just hilarious. And I went back about 4 years ago and watched it, and I'm like, this is not even funny. And so it's so slow. It's like, I laughed like twice. And so that's what happens when you hear a song you used to love, and then it comes on, it's like, what? It's weak. It's like a bad recording. Like, but that's how it was. You just remembered it as being so much better.
I love that. I just had no idea the realities of radio, and that it was just something that they could package somebody else's sketches with their own 5 things, and that's crazy to me. Wow.
Yeah, and nobody knew. I mean, it was just, it came off like, especially when we did like character drop-ins. We actually had. We would lay down the tracks of somebody. I was misinformation, or I was Trixie. I was a stupid dumb blonde Trixie, and I would giggle. I'm sorry, and I just go back and like I would lay down these tracks, and the announcer or the DJ would say, "Oh, Trixie's here," and I would go, "Hi, it's so good to see you," and and then he would have some whatever he wanted to say, which I'm realizing now while I'm telling you, it wasn't a very good idea because most people can't do anything without a script. You have to like tell them what to say. That was actually a problem when we had our first comedy album because it was at that time where radio was changing into more progressive rock. And people would call us, and radio people, and they'd say, "This is really good and funny. What do we do with it?" They didn't know how to play it.
Wow.
And we would say, well, just drop the needle on the vinyl and play it. And in between a song.
Yeah.
And that's what they would do then. They would just play the song and then play the bit and then go into another song because they didn't know how to like talk it up or how to present it.
That's crazy. I mean, it makes sense. If you're a DJ, my father-in-law was a DJ, and so is his brother. It's one of those things. If you're trained to do music and you have a specific training that you've been doing for a long time, it is funny when either a format changes or the expectation changes. All of a sudden, you've got to be funny when you never really had to be. You just had to be fun.
Yes,
that's got to be confusing as hell if you're a DJ.
Well, you're so right, and that's so. The expectation factor, that is the key to everything in life. It's whatever somebody has in mind and then what it really is. I mean, just, if you think about it, your relationships, your jobs, where you go in life, your restaurant, your movie, it's what you expect and what you get. Mm-hmm. And who knows what determines what people's expectations are. Oftentimes it's, somebody of critic or somebody telling them, that oh, it's really good. And then you go and you're like, why did they think this was good? This isn't good. Or somebody tells you it's bad. And then you think it's good. Like with Ishtar came out and it was like the biggest bomb. And it was, because that was Elaine May, she directed that. And I thought, oh my, we thought it was hilarious. The first half of the movie was hilarious. And then it kind of dropped off. But boy, it sure didn't deserve that kind of, I guess because it was they spent so much money on it. They just wanted to tear it down.
Yeah, and then they use that as an excuse as to why to never hire a woman director. That always ends up...
There you go. That's true.
That's how it always ends up going, which is terrible.
It is.
This is... I want to know... Okay, and by the way, I'm going to bring us back to the Bickersons for a second, but... honest to God, I want to talk way more about your radio stuff than I want to talk about the Bickersons. But I do want to know. I happen to pick this best of record from 1961. Is there a Bickersons bit that sticks out to you as a particular favorite?
I'm sorry to say I don't know the names of them. I don't know the names of the bits. Gosh, I can't tell you. I would have to go back and listen. I should have done this before.
That is fine. I mean, it is again. It was a thing that you used as a reference point for your own work, and that's more interesting to me.
Well, I know now. Listening back, you can listen to like it's almost like the Will Ferrell podcast. Like some of them aren't funny, and then one of them is hilarious all the way through. It's like there's some bits of theirs that you laugh, and then there's others you're just sitting there.
I mean, that's how it goes.
And I mean, you would think that about, comedy in general or anything, but when it comes from the same source, you would expect it to be somewhat consistent, or at least you think, oh, well, my sense of humor is different than somebody else's. We always found ourselves going to the movies and laughing when nobody else was laughing. And then everybody else is laughing and we're not. And we're like, what's wrong here? Like, why do they think that's funny? Like, the whole audience is not like one or two people.
Right.
There's sometimes you have that where you just have a few laughs, but when the entire audience is with what's going on and you're not, then you have to wonder something's different.
Yeah, right. Is something wrong with me all of a sudden? What the hell just happened? Yeah, it is there. Sometimes I think it is what a friend of the show, Steve Young, calls comedy damage, where he's just been working in comedy too much and almost nothing makes him laugh anymore. There's that.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I feel like it's just like, well, I just have a different taste, I suppose.
That's funny, comedy damage.
Yeah.
But I mean, also, if you step away from it and then come back, well, you do that yourself just in life. Like you write a comedy bit, and at the time you think, oh, this is horrible, and you throw it away, and then you come back later, a year later or so, and you look at it and you think, this is hilarious. It's just a mood thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
you can do that just knowing, like when you go shopping and you see something. This is why I decided, let me just give you a shopping tip. This is more important. When you go shopping and you see something, oh, I really want to buy this. I love this. And you don't buy it because just wait a week. And if you're like, oh, I'm dreaming about the thing, I got to have it, and then you go back and then you still love it, or it's like, oh, you got over it, and then you don't even like it anymore, so at least you didn't buy it. Just a little tip.
You were mentioning those, the cut-ins, the drop-ins and stuff that you compiled, and I'm assuming were sold by a company. Do those records exist? Do you have any of the records that are just filled with your drop-ins?
Actually, we do. We have all of them.
Oh, my God.
And I don't know, and in fact, it was Mel Blanc. He had the From Studio B stuff in his possession when he died. It was his company, and it somehow ended up in our closet. So we have stuff that that. I guess if we get hit by a bus or go down on a plane together or something, then nobody's going to know what the heck this is because it's old tape and, old real stuff. Then there's our own stuff that, like I said, Ron has just now started to try to put online. I have a restaurant in St. Louis called The Fountain on Locust, and we took one of our series, Soap Hospital, which was a, parody, obviously, of soap operas and hospitals, and we play it in the restaurant, so it's on a loop, so you can go in there and turn it up or turn it down and
love it
and listen to Soap Hospital. But a lot of this stuff is just like that. It's in somebody's closet, or it's just maybe sold at somebody's estate sale and nobody even knows what it is, and it really needs to be archived somewhere, I think.
It absolutely. I mean, anybody who's listening can hear the gears grinding in my brain, because every time I hear there's stuff out there that hasn't been digitized or saved, I'm like, oh God, please save it instantly. I know. I mean, well, I do know a few people if you ever need someone to help you digitize them.
Well, we should do that, because honestly, you just get to where you just don't have time. And
that's
the biggest problem. So people, they come in and they listen to Soap Hospital and they want to buy. We did put out one CD of it, which was cleverly entitled Volume 1, and and then we didn't do. And they're like, we have Volume 2, and we're like, no, we didn't have time to put it together. We never did, so we still have it. We could do Volume 3 and 4 if we.
Yeah, I was going to say, make the next one Volume 3 and just act like the second one existed. Just never tell anybody.
Yes. Oh, that'll really throw me off.
That's remarkable. I am very happy to hear that those records do exist, and I do now wonder, anybody who's listening, anybody within earshot, if you find any of those records somewhere, please let us know, because I would love to. I mean, I'm glad that you have them all, but I would love to hear them at some point, because I bet they're fascinating.
Most of them are not on vinyl. Most of them are tape.
Okay.
So yeah, and we just have also old video, which is huge.
Sure.
It's a film, I guess. It's 1 inch. It's not video one. I guess it was. It used to be broadcast video was 1 inch.
Yeah.
Don't ask me. I'm not the technical genius I appear to be. I don't know also about, I don't know anything about audio, so let's just skip that.
Well, I can tell you, I do know this from talking with my archivist friends, including a friend of the show, Taylor Jessen, who is Firesign Theater's archivist. He has run into issues with Firesign stuff where some of their stuff was recorded, their audio was recorded on 1 inch tape that would normally be for video. So who knows?
So maybe I am right.
There's a good chance.
Here. Yeah.
There's a very good chance. It was not uncommon. Yeah.
Thank you for making me look good. Yeah.
I must say, so I was watching a bit of How to Party, which is on YouTube. By the way, I don't know if you know that, but it is on YouTube.
Oh, okay. It must look really bad. Is it real grainy?
It is pretty grainy. It is obviously from someone's VHS, not from a master.
Yeah.
But in digging through, I was just flipping, and once I got towards the end, I had to pause on the credits because I saw a name, and I'm like, well, that's a fairly common name. The name is Richard Levinson, and I'm like, oh, okay. Let me dig.
Do you know him?
He did the theme song for this podcast. So yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
That's
So
fantastic. fantastic.
I messaged him today. I'm like, do you know Joy Grdnic? He's like, yeah. And then he just went into detail. And yeah, apparently the same one. That's hilarious.
He's great.
He's a
So,
delight.
yeah, what did we do? We did Bikini Full of Trouble. Yeah.
Delightful.
He had me in for a while. We did some stuff, and then, of course, he did some. We are very, I'm a fan of his, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the longest set of credits, by the way, ever, because clearly you brought in every friend that you made in Los Angeles. Is what
absolutely.
This looks like. This is fantastic. A lot of couples. Yeah. This is holy cow. But at the same time, I love that you both play probably 30 characters each, right? I mean, you're playing a million characters. I mean, I'm sorry for anybody who's listening. I know this is not comedy on video, but it's worth hunting down. But I hope you guys do have a master that at some point you can do something with and put some...
Well, we just literally last week got one from this guy here in St. Louis.
Amazing.
Hunted something down, found it, gave it to us, and now I think Ron's going to try to put that on the YouTube Stevens and Grdnic.
That's
thing.
Awesome. That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is I'm gonna message the person who put it up because they're like, I don't know anything about it, and now I have information to tell them. I can be like, hey, is it 1987? Is that an accurate number? Accurate year?
Oh my gosh, I don't remember, but that sounds good. And then I was trying to think we did a couple of releases. We did a thing called Commercials on 45.
Yeah.
Because at the time there was a thing, Stars on 45. Mm-hmm. And that was actually it was really well done. And the flip side of that, or no, I'm thinking of a different, we did Bend Over Beethoven. And these were singles. And then we did a funny little record that we made on a tiny little size that now looks like a CD, but before CDs, we made it was called A Funny Little Record, and it was real little, like a size of a CD. And I had to go find somebody in Los Angeles who would press a little bitty record like that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something that I remember the cover of it, but I can't remember what it was in it, what the bit was.
Oh my God, I'm gonna have to hunt this down.
Yeah, isn't this terrible? I have to find it. But it has an orange and yellow sleeve with pictures of us. And then we also did this little thing where we were, that was when UPC symbols first came out. So we put ourselves behind it like we were in jail in the UPC bars. Boy, doesn't that sound like we're 100 years old?
Oh, but here's the thing. I got to tell you, some of my favorite comedy is when a new technology has just come out and somebody likes to fuck with it with comedy. They like to just do something comedic with it. And honestly, I think it's brilliant. I love seeing that kind of stuff.
Boy, it's hard to keep up with that now, though.
Oh, yeah. Almost impossible. Almost impossible.
Right.
I mean, years ago, Britney Spears, when email first came out, released a song called Email My Heart or something like that. And I remembered the day it came out being like, this is not going to age well. Like just knowing.
Yeah.
Well, I do like the UPC gag though. That is very good. I'm gonna have to try and find this record because I have a fascination with small records. My friend and I had a custom one cut that was about 1.5 inches wide. It's 10 seconds on either side. It's a terrible setup and a terrible punchline on either side. So setup on one side, punchline on the other. So I'm obsessed with small records. I love that so much. My God, there's so much to talk about. You've done so much, and I can also tell that, like, to the point where you literally are not sure what's on everything. You don't stop moving, do you? You do not stop moving.
Right. People always say I don't sleep, and then I have to wake up. No, I do sleep. I fall asleep behind the wheel, which is terrible.
Oh boy!
3 months ago, I fell asleep behind the wheel and woke up when I hit this guy.
Oh no!
So, yeah, that was bad. But what was really weird about it was the guy. There was some cops nearby, like I don't know, something was going on, and there were some cop cars. So I thought, I'll just go over there and get one of these cops because I had this accident, and they can, do what they have to do. And this guy saw me doing that and was like, hey, you know what? we're cool.
Oh my God.
It was like, what do you have, a dead body and you're trying to
Right.
So, you let me go. Yeah.
Wow.
But that
Wow.
was a real wake up call.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
bet.
it was yeah, I got to start getting some sleep.
Yeah, right. Do you, I mean, here's the thing. Sometimes that stuff is attributable to just what your personality is, but like, is there a part of you though that just doesn't like to stop making things? Because you also
Yeah.
both make a lot of stuff.
That's right. And I think Ron's actually worse than me. We do things separately and we do things together, but the stuff that we do together really doesn't. We don't. We both have good timing, and we're professional comedy people and stuff, but we don't work well together because his style is more focused and mine is more all over the place, and he can't stand that. So I need really to be with a person that can just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Which I always think is important for radio, because radio just eats it up anyway. And then here he is working overtime trying to fill all of that time, and it's just, you burn out. It's just, it can't be done. But and I mean, the best way to do it is to take advantage of just milking it. But we both do separate things, and we have so many interests, I guess, that, you just don't. I don't want to go to sleep because I want to stay awake and do more stuff. I'm like a toddler, yes. But then you're not thinking too straight. This is probably how I ruined my memory even more. But anyway, so there you are. And there you have it.
I do love, though, a very nice irony, though, is that you have chosen a record, at least, we've briefly spoken about it, about a couple who ostensibly hates each other, where at the same time, that's in the only problem you guys have is working together, where the rest of it.
That is a comedy classic relationship, though, is an unbreakable bond. That's why, okay, these two, they hate each other, but they're married. Well, today you think, oh, so what? They'll just get divorced. But it works with anything. Okay, this is an office situation, and it's an unbreakable bond, at least for the time being, because this is your job and these are your people that you work with, and that is your boss. So that creates that sense that you have to suffer and make the best of it, or do something. A family situation is another one where they're your family. You can't get rid of them. They're
Right.
So, yeah.
That's
a little comedy lesson.
Did you grow up with, we talked briefly about some of the records you grew up with, maybe, but were there any in the house that your parents brought in, or were they all stuff that you got yourself?
I didn't really purchase comedy albums until I was an adult.
Okay.
And my parents, I watched television, and you know how this is another thing that makes it difficult for Ron and me, because Ron is 7 years older than I am. So every 7 years is a different generation in pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
So, he was like Howdy Doody and the Mickey Mouse Club, and I was like the Three Stooges and Superman. So it was a whole different thing. So my comedy, I was a girl who loved the Three Stooges. I don't know where this came from. The girls don't like Three Stooges, but I love the Three Stooges, and I watched them every day. Mm-hmm. and then, as I say, I watched those comedy guys that were vaudeville guys, really, that were just getting into television at the time, because that was the medium. And but I never liked Milton Berle. Just to set the record straight, yeah. I thought that he was not funny, and he was, I didn't think he deserved his own show. But there were so many others that did, like Jackie Mason. Oh my God, he's hilarious. But that was because they were always losers, they played the character of losers.
Yeah.
But Jack Benny was the best, and he wasn't a loser. He was just so vain.
Yeah.
For a man, it was so funny.
Do you, were there, Growing up then, obviously, you know, there are all these comics on the air, but not nearly as many female comics. But did that in any way hinder you from wanting to be a comedian?
You know, over the years, I felt like there might be something to. I could never really do stand up by myself because I was scared, and no, people don't believe that. They think that, oh, I have such a big personality, and oh, you know, I can get up on stage, and yeah, I can get up on stage and do something, some theater thing or something. But if I have to stand there and talk as me, I am scared to do it. I'm fine behind a microphone, but I don't like people looking at me. There's something about it that makes me very scared.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'm always curious because I mean, I know that I can do sketch. I'm exactly the same way. I'm great in front of a camera, great in front of a microphone, but if I were to do stand up on my own, no thank you. I don't think I could do it.
Maybe it's just a individual, yeah, because I do see a lot of people that improv, that's, you know, if you're in a group, you can hide behind something.
Exactly, yeah.
I think if I didn't have such a bad memory, I wouldn't be so terrified, because I just can't. I was going to go blank. I would just forget, and then it would be like, oh, now what? I'm stuck. So.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I get that. That was the first thing that struck me is like, yeah, there is absolutely a comfort level to having somebody there to support you. And it's great for improv, but it's also great for comedy duos, even if you've got everything scripted out.
Well, the comedy duos, then you always have other sets of problems, because unless you have the same routines you're doing over and over again, if you're doing any ad-libbing, well, you have to be careful you don't step on the other person and they don't step on your joke. And that's the same with audio and comic radio or anything like that, where you're going for a joke, and if your partner or your other host partner ruins your joke, and it's just like, hey, butt out, you ruined my joke, or vice versa. You don't hear they said that already, or they didn't hear that, or you have a different set of problems. Yeah. But then comes with it too the added security of, like you say, having somebody there to fill in the gaps when if you go blank. Like us, yes.
So perfect. I realized I didn't ask though. So we roughly talked about your early days in radio, but how did you get into radio? Were you a DJ first or a comedian first?
Yeah, I was a DJ first, and I think that's what ruined everything, because I think that's what made me afraid to be in front of people, to have people see me, because I was the first progressive rock radio announcer, the youngest, I should say, female in the country. So I was 17 when I was the youngest female progressive rock radio announcer in the country. I got a job, and it was like the super cool KC Radio here in St. Louis, which is still and is the longest running progressive rock formatted radio station in the world.
It's crazy.
They just celebrated this. In fact, Ron did a documentary called Never Say Goodbye, the first 50 years of KC Radio, and it came out, I think, last year. It's very good. He is good for people that didn't even listen to KC Radio. It just takes you back, and it stuff you just forgot about. How pictures today, people edit their pictures on Photoshop or something, or they just, it's a shame, because you look at old pictures and you see, oh, look, there's that basket of laundry. I remember that in the corner. Well, today you cut that out. The kinds of things that tell the rest of the story get cut out now. So I don't know what's going to happen to generations ahead of us, but all of that stuff is important stuff. So anyway, I get a job back then, and I'm instantly a big, local star. So it was always difficult to be, they would expect, to make personal appearances and to do, MC things and do live shows and things in front of people. And I was always so frightened to do that, because I would have to get up in front of, 80,000 kids, and it would be really traumatic for a 17 or 18-year-old to get up in front of 80,000 kids. You could hide behind the microphone, but out there in front of everybody, it was a different story, and I think that scarred me for life.
Wow. Yeah, I bet.
It on me. Yes. I'm just now getting over it. So maybe I'll be the oldest female comedy person to get behind the microphone.
How did comedy enter the picture? I mean, was it just part of the job from the beginning, or?
Oh no, I always wanted to do comedy. That was the whole point. Because I had, I just admired. When I was 10 years old, I remember writing down what I wanted to be when I grew up, and vying for first place was a boutique shop owner and a writer for Mad Magazine. So I love those. When I was in grade school, we had these wacky, like, I forget what they were called. They were, they came with candy when you bought candy, or maybe gum.
Like
no,
Bazooka Joe?
Gum.
Or
no,
Laffy Taffy?
No, it
something else.
I forget where maybe you just bought them as their own thing, but they were takeoffs of products and stuff, like Crest toothpaste.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh, wacky packages?
I guess that was it. Was it called Wacky Packages? Wacky Pack? Something like that. Yeah. So I love those.
Uh-huh.
So I love them so much I don't know what they were called. But I loved them. And I just always liked the dark side of things, and I appreciated that, gross stuff that was funny at the time. And then I liked the comics, the stand-up comics on television. And then I liked Madeline Kahn and Cloris Leachman, and I thought, they had the best parts because they had the funny parts, and I don't know why, that's just always attracted me. So and then I met Ron, and we wanted to do comedy, radio comedy. So we did radio comedy, and then we put together an album, but there was no place for it in St. Louis for comedy. It was just ad agencies. That was like the only way you could actually sell anything or do anything for a job in comedy at the time. It was really kind of before or between stand-up, because you were on the end of the vaudeville guys like the Jackie Vernons and everything, and then there was this big wall, and then it was before the Steve Martins and the George Carlins.
Sure, yeah.
So there was kind of a comedy stand-up lull there.
Wow, yeah, that is a crazy in-between time that people don't necessarily think of, and quite often when we talk about the stuff on the show, we sort of treat it like there was some kind of like there was a buffer, but it doesn't sound like there was as much of a buffer, especially again if there was a moment in time where the two of you could be like, oh well, our option is to make a comedy album, that's what we have to do, and I love that.
Yeah, well, I remember going to see Steve Martin here in St. Louis, and I was a big Steve Martin fan. I still am. And I thought he said something. He must have been in his early 30s when he came here. And I remember, I don't remember exactly what it was. He was funny. And then he said one thing that dated him that I thought, oh my, because up till then I didn't think of him as being really old, but when you're like 14 and somebody's 33, then you think, they're really old. And whatever he said that dated him, it stuck out to me to think, gee, I wonder when I'm in, his age, if I'm going to be old and not know it. So here I am, even older, and I don't know it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I love. My God, I first of all, I'm very jealous you got to see Steve Martin during the few years he was doing stand up.
I actually walked by him on the sidewalk. Yeah, he has big hands. But anyway.
Well, you know what that means? That means he can do magic tricks very well. That's
oh, is that what that means? Oh, yeah.
So boy, oh boy, I'm just kind of I'm minorly flustered because there's so much to talk about, and I'd actually like to talk with you more at some point, but I want to make sure we do a quick recommend the Bickersons. Why would you recommend listening to the Bickersons to the people at home?
The Bickersons bring back an era of comedy that is before sitcoms, but still has the delightful aspect of sitcoms.
Yeah. It's perfect, and it's if you're a person who, like me, grew up only knowing Don Amici from Trading Places and Cocoon, you can get a glimpse of who he was very early in his career. It's kind of fun.
He did a great job. The whole premise of the Bickersons being that, he had a bickering couple. That's what it was. Is so identifiable, and it hits home for so many couples. That's not the thing that usually you put out there.
Yeah, right.
But that's to see the humor in it. That's the best part.
Absolutely. Boy, oh boy, Joy, thank you so much for doing the show. It's been delightful.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Where can people find you online? And if there's anything coming, this won't come out for another several weeks, but if there's anything coming up you'd like to let people know about.
Oh my goodness. Probably just the Stevens and Grdnic YouTube channel that's in its infancy. So there's hardly anything on there. But as we go, more will come. And I guess just whatever's out there, I guess, already that people have put up there. We definitely have to get busy with all of our 5,000 radio comedy bits and get those archived somewhere. That's for sure. This is another wake-up call. So less sleep for me.
Well, I will say I did subscribe earlier today, so please, everybody, go ahead, subscribe to Stevens and Grdnic on YouTube. And honestly, thank you so much for doing this show. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And as always, have a good thing. Comedy on Vinyl is a production of StolenDress Entertainment. It is produced by Mike Warden and is hosted and edited by Jason Klom. Our theme song was composed and performed by Richard Levinson. You can email us at podcast@comedyonvinyl.com. You can also send snail mail to StolenDress Entertainment, P.O. Box 805, Burbank, California, 91503. Subscribe to Comedy on Vinyl on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and anywhere else you can find podcasts. Give us a 5-star rating and write us a review. It helps. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Comedy on Vinyl, or find everything in one place at comedyonvinyl.com. A major portion of Comedy on Vinyl has been underwritten by Stand Up Records. Please visit standuprecords.com for all your comedy needs, and tune in to the new Stand Up Records channel available on the Roku, where you can also find select episodes of this podcast. Visit StolenDress.com to listen to our other podcasts, watch videos, and imbibe freely of our multimedia content going back 15 plus years. That's a lot. Yeah. StolenDress Entertainment. Yes, that would be wonderful, and I'm going to send an email to Ron, too, if you think he'd be interested in doing it. Thank you so much. All right. Bye.